The story Matt shares in this episode of Sasquatch Theory weaves together a lifetime of encounters so unusual and layered that they challenge the boundaries between folklore, paranormal mystery, and lived human experience. Told with sincerity and detail, his account moves from the forests of south-central California to a sacred lake steeped in tribal history, and finally into the realm of unexplained aerial phenomena that seem to follow his family line. It's the kind of narrative that sticks with you long after you've heard it, not simply because of its strangeness, but because of the consistency and conviction with which Matt recounts each event. His encounters began in 1997, during what should have been a routine biking trip in the Los Padres National Forest. Matt and his friend were teenagers then, exploring trails the way Southern California kids do, soaking in the sun, pushing their limits, and enjoying the quiet isolation of the mountains. Near the end of one trail, everything became eerily still. The forest turned silent in a way that felt wrong, the kind of silence you only notice when every natural sound suddenly stops. That's when the smell hit them, a foul, musky odor so strong and foreign it was impossible to ignore. Before either of them had time to react, a massive limb snapped somewhere beyond the treeline, echoing through the forest with unnatural force. Moments later, Matt saw an arm, an impossibly large, black-haired arm, reach out from behind a cluster of trees. It was long, thick, and muscular, with hair that looked coarse and wild, more like an animal hide than anything human. He didn't see the creature's face, only the arm, but it was enough to send electricity through his entire body. He knew instantly he was looking at something alive, intelligent, and extremely powerful. Neither he nor his friend needed to discuss what they'd just witnessed. They pedaled away as fast as adrenaline would allow. When Matt later spoke to tribal elders, he was surprised by how calmly they received his story. They didn't challenge him, laugh, or question the details. Instead, they told him these beings were real, forest guardians who lived in a world parallel to ours, crossing paths only with certain individuals. Some people, they said, are simply meant to see them. Whether by bloodline, intuition, or spiritual openness, a small number of individuals are chosen. Matt didn't know what to make of that at the time, but it planted a seed. The experience had been too vivid to dismiss, and hearing elders speak of these beings as part of an accepted reality opened a door in his mind that he couldn't close. As the months passed, the forest itself seemed to confirm what he had been told. Matt began noticing unusual damage to trees, large branches broken in ways that didn't match natural weather patterns, bark stripped in vertical patterns, and trees bent or twisted as if something enormous had manipulated them. Some areas looked almost like territorial markers, the kind of signposts animals make to communicate dominance or boundaries. The patterns were too structured, too deliberate to be random. Whatever lived there, Matt believed, wasn't simply passing through. It was claiming space. About 4 months after the bike trail encounter, something even stranger happened. Matt was canoeing on a lake that held deep significance for the local Native American tribes. The lake was believed to be a portal, a place where the world above and the world below met, feeding waterways that connected far beyond the visible horizon. Fishermen spoke of seeing shapes beneath the surface, shadows that moved like large animals, though no known species in the region matched their descriptions. Matt was gliding quietly across the water, enjoying the peace, when something enormous rose from underneath the canoe. The water bulged violently. In a split second, the canoe was thrown upward, then sideways, nearly capsizing. Matt caught a clear glimpse of what surfaced beneath him, a massive, scaled back, with plates the size of dinner dishes. The scales glistened, dark and wet, like something prehistoric. Whatever it was far larger than any fish native to the lake. The creature didn't breach fully, but the sheer size of its back alone was enough to convince him that a gigantic, unknown animal was moving beneath him. He paddled to shore in shock, trying to process what had just happened. Again, he consulted the tribal elders. Their response mirrored the calm acceptance they showed regarding his forest encounter. They told him that lake creatures had been part of tribal stories for generations, beings that were not simply aquatic animals, but guardians of the water, with abilities and origins tied to both mythic and natural worlds. These creatures, they told him, were known to appear to certain people and were often connected to transitions, warnings, or spiritual awakenings. Matt couldn't help but notice the parallels between the Bigfoot encounter and the lake incident. In both cases, he felt he had glimpsed something ancient, powerful, and deeply intertwined with native knowledge. Yet the strangeness in Matt's life didn't stop there. He described how paranormal experiences ran through his family, particularly on his grandfather's side. His grandfather once captured a photograph of a UFO, a clear, unmistakable object hovering in the sky. He stored the photo in a safe place, tucked inside an album, thinking it would be preserved. But the next time he went to show it to someone, the photo was gone. Not misplaced, not moved, simply gone. The album was untouched, yet the photograph had vanished. The disappearance felt intentional, as though someone, or something, didn't want tangible proof circulating outside the family. Matt grew up hearing that story, and as he navigated his own experiences, he began to feel that his life was part of a larger pattern. He talked about moments of intuition, episodes where he sensed presences he couldn't explain, and a feeling that the locations tied to these encounters were connected by more than geography. Whether it was the forest, the lake, or the skies above his family's home, he felt that all these mysteries were part of the same fabric, woven together in ways just beyond human understanding. Listening to Matt speak, what comes across most clearly is not fear, but respect. He doesn't sensationalize the encounters or claim to have all the answers. Instead, he reflects on them as experiences that opened his mind to the possibility that the world is far stranger, deeper, and more interconnected than most people realize. He believes the encounters weren't random, that for reasons he may never fully understand, he was meant to see these things. To witness, to remember. His story taps into something ancient, the idea that the land holds secrets, that beings older than recorded history walk among us, and that some individuals find themselves standing at the edge of that hidden world. Whether you interpret his account through a paranormal lens, a cultural one, or a symbolic one, the effect is the same. It invites you to consider that not all mysteries are meant to be solved, but some are meant to be experienced. Matt's journey is not just about Bigfoot, lake monsters, or UFOs. It's about the invisible threads that link family, land, and the unknown. It's a reminder that the world is vast, that truth often hides in myth, and that sometimes the most extraordinary stories come from ordinary people who were simply in the right place at the right time, chosen. As the elders say, to see beyond the veil.